advice video, and I'm so excited because I just like love sharing like my advice with you guys. I think it is so fun. But today's topic is what I wish I knew before I went to college. So today I will be talking about all the ugly truths about college, including like bad roommate situations, studying or failing for tests, and even partying. So if you want to see that, be sure to keep watching. But before we get into it, if you love this video, be sure to give it a huge thumbs up. Also, don't forget the subscribe button down below if you want to see more of me and join my little family. But let's not wait any longer and let's just get into it. To tell you guys a little bit more about me, if you're new to my channel, I am a junior at the University of Nebraska at Lincoln. I am studying architecture and interior design. And if you guys don't know, UNL is a very, very large school. We have at least 50,000 students, which is a ton, and we are all super like sports enthused. So let's go Husker Nation. But since I am a junior, I have learned so much throughout the years, and I'm here to be like your big sister and like tell you guys all this advice and how to make being a freshman so much easier. So starting with number one, this is like the major like tip that I see every year, especially like on the first day of school, is like all the freshmen are like super dressed up. Like they're so dressed up, like it's like their first day of like high school, and everyone thinks it's kind of like a big deal to like dress up every day. And I am totally not demeaning like girls that love dressing up just to make themselves feel better. I totally understand that. But when it comes to like dressing up, like you do not have to dress up every day. Honestly, no one cares. I wear like complete like slouchy and sweatpants, and honestly I'd rather just be comfortable in class and just get the job done and like get out of there. No one's like trying to look super cute. If you want to look cute, that's when you go to the parties. But during class, I am probably like the biggest slouch. You probably wouldn't even like recognize me on campus because I literally look like the biggest slouch. I'm not kidding. Like my hair is always up. I never have makeup on. I'm probably wearing like a baggy hoodie. But just to let you know, like dressing up really doesn't matter, and people honestly don't care. Tip number two is that it is a clean slate. Now when I'm saying this, I mean like anything from like high school is not following you to college. So hypothetically, if you were known for being like a super like athletic person and you really don't want to be about athletics anymore, you don't have to be, and no one has to hold you to it. Like it's a clean slate. You can do whatever you want, especially if you're going out of state to like a college that like none of your like people from high school are going to. Like just start fresh, and like honestly that feeling is amazing, and honestly it's kind of scary and like daunting too. But when I went to college, I stayed within my hometown, and since I'm going to such a large school, it was like a very big like clean slate for me, and honestly I didn't have to worry about any of my troubles from high school. Tip number three is about roommates. Now when it comes to roommates, I personally have been random assigned a roommate my first year of college. I actually lived in the dorms, and guys, there's just like some things that you like know to put up with and some things that you shouldn't put up with. Like if you move in and you're already getting like a super bad feeling about being with this roommate that you guys just aren't gonna click, and honestly your personalities are just like clashing or something, definitely get your roommate assignment changed. Like I can't say this enough, you shouldn't have to put up with it. Like if you are not like blending well with your roommate, then it's probably not gonna work out, and honestly it's just gonna be a struggle throughout the semester. So if you recognize like early in the game, like I'm talking within like the first like 3 days or weekend that you're there, and you are like, yeah, no, me and my roommate literally just aren't clicking, then you should go talk to your RA, go talk to your building manager, and try and get reassigned a room, because you should not put up with that all semester. And believe me guys, I've been in a situation like this where I actually roomed with somebody that I was not a fan of, and guys, the semester just got so awful that it was like so hard to like actually live together. Like it was probably like legit like roommate wars. Like it was getting pretty bad. So I definitely recommend that if you are with a bad roommate, or you think it's going to be a bad roommate, or you just have a bad like juju or like feeling about your roommate, then definitely get it changed, because you shouldn't have to deal with it. And honestly, it's gonna make your life so much easier if you deal with it now rather than trying to get changed like later on. Tip number four is don't skip class. Now, I feel like a complete like mother hen saying this. Like I just feel like your mom would be like, don't skip class, Danielle, don't do it. But here I am telling you, do not skip class, because I have personally failed a class because I was skipping it, because you're just thinking this mindset that you're like, I took it in high school, I really don't have to worry about it, I already know all the topics, and then you start failing all of your tests. And you're like, I don't know why I'm failing, because I took this in high school and I did study for it. Like I studied a day in advance. I should be fine. But really, college does not work like that at all. College and high school, like studying is like completely different wavelengths. And when you are like skipping class, it's a lot more work for you, because you have to spend all this extra time studying, catching up on what you didn't like learn that day in class, when you could have just went to class and it could have been taught to you. So now you're doing like a lot of self-teaching, which is rather frustrating, especially when it comes to college. So I highly recommend, if you start seeing like your grades like deteriorate because you're skipping class, that's when you need to stop skipping class, because you don't want to lose money. When you like skip class in like high school, it's like whatever, and when you fail a class in high school, it's completely whatever because it's free to you. But when you start skipping classes in college and failing them, that's like $1,000 that you're gonna have to repay because you need that class to graduate. Like, not to be like extremely like serious and blunt about it, but you're wasting a lot of money skipping class. So tip number 5 is studying for college, and studying for college is a lot more like different than what you think from high school. So if you guys want like an in-depth video on like how to study, be sure to leave a comment down below. But I'm just going to brush on the basics right now. But when it comes to like high school, I never studied for tests. Like, I absolutely like refused studying for tests. I didn't do anything. I literally woke up the next day, took the test, and that was it. And then when it comes to college, you try to do the same thing and you don't like really study, but you kind of study like a day in advance just to like brush yourself up on it. It doesn't work. Like, I will 100% like vouch that studying the day before a test for college does not work, because you cannot like just cheat off your neighbor. I don't know if you guys have this at your colleges, but at my college, you had to take tests online in a computer center. So you literally just stared at this computer around like all these other people that are taking tests for completely different classes, and you're just staring at this computer and you're like, man, I really don't know like what to do, because these questions aren't like basic questions like what color is the sky. These questions are like in-depth, like philosophical questions, like the sky is blue, but if it could be any other color, what would it be? Like, it's a lot like weird stuff like that. I feel like that just like came to mind. But when it comes to college, you guys have to know like a lot more, and what really helps me like study for college is that I'm gonna have to know this in the long run. Like, I'm not learning something in college just because I have to learn it and memorize it. Like, when you're in high school, you just have to take the class and get it over with. In college, like, this class is preparing you for the future and what you're gonna be doing in like your work and like what you plan to do and like at your workplace. I don't know where I'm going with that. But anyways, when you're at your workplace, like, what you're learning in college is going to help you like progress in your future and help you be more knowledgeable like in your future like career. So definitely understand that like when studying for college is actually like really important, because it's not just like a memorization thing. It's more of a, I need to really like soak this up and sink it in, because it's really gonna help me in my future. Tip number 6 is about books, and I'm actually like kind of highly passionate about like this topic, because my first year I bought all of my books, and when I went to class I only ended up using one of them for an online class. So all my other classes that I bought books in, which rounded up to be about $300 of books that I never used and that I had to return back, and I got like half my money back for, if I was lucky. And I never used these books. So my tip that I highly recommend for all incoming freshmen is wait 2 weeks. Like, literally wait 2 weeks, see if your teacher is still talking about the books, has assignments out of the books, and see if you like actually need the books. Because if you buy the books right away, I promise you, you're not going to use all of them, and it's going to be a complete waste of your money. I've learned that several times. Like, I refuse to buy books now. Like, books are so like just a waste of money, and honestly, the teachers don't even use them. And what's the worst part is I bought a book before and the teacher was like, okay, here's the free online access code that we're going to be using, and you never even had to touch the book or even buy the book or rent the book, and the book is just now like a huge paperweight on your desk that you completely regret buying. So I highly recommend like not buying your books, wait and buy your books. And if you do have to end up buying your books, check out Amazon Books. They have great rentals. You return them and ship them for free. They are amazing. I highly recommend Amazon rentals. There's also Chegg and other things like that where you can get free books or like reduced price books. I do not recommend buying books from your school bookstore, because the price of those are escalated by like at least $20 to $50 like on a book. So if you check online, be sure to do that, because you will save yourself so much money, and honestly, you will save yourself so much time, because returning the book is so much easier. Because at UNL, you have to like wait in a line that's like 2 hours long to return all of your books to make sure they're in like pristine condition, and you guys have to do it like the week before school ends, and just everybody's trying to get it done. And honestly, it's a huge hassle when you can just put your book back in the box and ship it at UPS. Tip number 7 is to be open to new experiences. Now, when saying this, I mean like maybe going to class and being a lot more open, because when you go to a 200 person lecture hall and you just feel like a total ant just chilling probably in the back of the classroom, that is not a fun time at all. So definitely like open yourself up to new experiences and be like around people and like actually like engage in with your neighbor, and it's gonna make the class a lot easier. Because believe me, I've been there where I've been like in a 200 person like lecture hall, and it is not fun because you do not know anybody and you you completely dread going to the class because it is probably literally awful. But if you make friends with like your neighbor, you will have such a better time going to class because you'll know someone there, and honestly, if the class gets tough, they could probably help you study with it or vice versa. So definitely be open to like new experiences, whether that's like joining a frat or sorority, joining a club, anything like that. Just be open to like what college has to offer because this is only gonna happen once in your life. Tip number 8 is getting involved. Now, getting involved is actually like a big thing when it comes to college, because if you're going to a college and you don't know anybody, if you don't get involved, you're never gonna meet new people. Like, honestly, that sounds kind of harsh, but it's true, because when you just go to class and you go back to your dorm and then you go to class and back to your dorm, you create this routine and like the schedule where you're not meeting any new people, and honestly, it's rather depressing. Like, my first like semester of college, I was not involved, and it was kind of depressing, and I got kind of homesick just because like I never got involved. But in my second semester, I got involved in a club. It was called Montage, and it was actually like a fashion club, so I got really involved in that, and I met like amazing people that I never would have met otherwise if I didn't actually like join this club. Like, so many more like opportunities and like doors open when you join a club, because 1, it looks great on your resume, and 2, you just have like so many more people, and honestly, it gives you something to look forward to. Tip number 9 is about college partying, and I totally see myself right now going back into like a mother hen mode, but I am all for a girl that wants to go out with her friends and have a great time. Like, I am all for that. Like, you can go to like college parties and have a super fun time with your friends. Definitely all for that. But we're gonna talk about the like bad things about college drinking. So if you start noticing like your grades diminishing, getting into like situations that probably aren't good, or if you are getting like probably got an MIP or a DUI, you should probably consider like the way that you're drinking, because when you're drinking, especially if it's underage, you need to do it smart. And I'm not like talking about like ways to like hide it. You just need to be smart about drinking. Like, you should definitely have a designated driver. You should not be driving, and you should not be at a party by yourself. That just creates a really bad like case where you could get harmed or hurt or anything worse. So definitely like be smart about drinking. Definitely go with friends and have a designated driver, because either way, if you're stuck in a situation where you don't have any of those, you're gonna be stuck in a rough place. But going back to college and like academics, college partying and drinking is the number 1 like reason for academic probation. If you guys don't know, academic probation is when you have a 2.0 or lower, and that means that you are starting or on the verge of losing your scholarships. So when you start noticing that like you're drinking too much, or like your social life is more important than school, then you definitely need to get your shit back on track, because academic probation is very serious. You can get kicked out of college, and not only can you get kicked out of college, you will lose your scholarships. I have known plenty of girls that got like too like influenced in like going out partying with friends and not worrying about school, and got on academic probation. That is literally the worst. You have to start reporting to like your counselors. You have to start getting your teachers to sign off on tests. It is worse, the like actual worst. And honestly, in high school, they'll like go after you about like, oh, you forgot to turn this assignment in, be sure to turn it in. Or in college, they really don't do that. They don't do that in the slightest. If you don't turn it in, then it's like whatever. So definitely make sure that like if you're drinking and partying, be sure to do it safe. And honestly, don't forget that academics are a large part, and realize that there are very big consequences if you get caught like in academic probation, a DUI or MIP. Like, it is really bad. So be sure that you're being smart. And honestly, guys, if you like feel like you're gonna get into a situation that's bad, just leave. Like, there's no one like holding you there. You definitely need to make sure you're going with friends. I feel like I'm just like preaching to the choir at this point, but if you're gonna do it, be smart about it. Lastly is tip number 10, and it's more of like extreme life advice, is to realize that college is your full-time job. It was like mind-breaking to me when I finally like realized that, wow, college is actually a job. You're definitely not getting paid for it, and if anything, you're paying like to them, which is like not a job at all in the sense. But when you start like realizing that the amount of time that you would be spending at a full-time job is the amount of time that you should be spending on your academics, it just makes college like a lot easier to understand and a lot easier to like work with, because you're like, wow, I need to be devoting this time and spending this amount of energy on getting like good academics. Alright guys, so that is my 10 tips on what I wish I knew before I went to college. Honestly guys, it's kind of like the ugly truth about college. But if you guys have any questions that I didn't answer, be sure to like leave them down below. I will be answering all of your guys' comments. Also, don't forget to leave any video requests as well for like college or back to school. I'm having so fun making like back to school videos. If you loved it, be sure to give it a huge thumbs up. Also, don't forget the subscribe button down below if you want to see more of me and join my little family. Also, be sure to turn the little bell on to get notifications about every time that I upload. But thank you guys so much for watching. Bye.